Good evening. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. We offer this summary, soulful service as a time for going deeper, to think about what it means to be human tonight, and to think about the extent of human imagination. 80 years ago, human imagination reached a new limit with unimaginable destruction that happened in the bombings of the Japanese cities of Hiroshima on August 6th and Nagasaki on August 9th. Unimaginable destruction that was born of human imagination. We must sit humbled by our great imaginative power. And so, we gather on this night, this Unitarian Universalist congregation, and among our many friends, humbled and imagining, reimagining, humbled at the world as it is, and imagining the world as it might be, as we live into our values, our morality, our spirituality, our joy. It is our faith that calls us to consider never again. My name is David Carl Olson. I serve here in the care of our lead minister, Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore. We ministers couldn't do this without a great number of members and friends of our congregation who make this a welcoming place by their attentive invitation. Will you help me give a special thank you to the volunteers who make our simple supper possible? Yay! I don't know about you, but I went back for seconds. We have professionals in the room too, and so thank you to our audio-video team from Penny Lane, Adam, Mike, John, and Bobby. Did I get everything? Okay, here we go. We look forward to all of us, our featured artist tonight, Cliff Eberhardt. And here up front, the Cosmic Orchestra. Will you help me welcome Sarah Cross, Pat Falco, Larry Campbell, Eugene Ruffalo, Cassandra House, Ben Wish, and Chris Marshak. At the start of our time together, we light the chalice. In this commemoration, may we imagine that just as an atomic fire exhibited destructive power, so might our small light in the chalice ignite in us a constructive power, a power by which we might build the world of our hopes, our dreams, our imagination. Many years ago, I led a congregation that didn't have much use for a preaching minister. They had a tradition going back to 1920 of featuring a guest speaker almost every Sunday morning. Some argued, too, that the center of the congregation's worship life was not some minister's sermon, nor even the amazing lectures that were presented by John Haynes Holmes and Margaret Sanger and Krishnamurti and Rabbi Barnett Brickner. No, some argued that it was the question and answer period facilitated by the minister that was the moment when the Spirit was most present and the church most courageously formed. So, to be responsible for inviting exciting speakers and for being present every week to help hold things together and to keep the community conversation from breaking into fisticuffs, and to only preach twice a year, well, that was okay. But I also thought I might have a larger contribution to make. This congregation only met from October to May, so I tried to imagine if there might be places outside of that box where I could do something. I had a very special relationship with a Japanese musician, a flautist, who performed classical, European, and US American music on many occasions during the year. But as I became aware of other gifts of his, I explored with him what might be his joy, and especially what might express his culture beyond the music that we always heard him play. So, from these conversations, we planned a new service. Now, previously, I had already squeezed in a winter solstice service during the program year, but we created in the summer a program to recognize the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We led the congregation on a trip into Boston Harbor, riding the ferry together, bringing our picnic baskets and blankets, and then we sat together out on a lawn overlooking the sea. And Japanese musicians and a dancer played Japanese court music from the 8th to the 15th centuries of the European reckoning. Sparse, meditative music, flute and drum and modern dance, and we meditated together. Now, on that experience, I thought about adding sensation to the sparse music and meditation. I found a dried out wreath left over from winter solstice the previous year, and I got the children of the Sunday school to break the wreath into pieces and distributed to each person just a sprig of this dried up balsam fir. It was prickly, but when crushed, it released such fragrance. And we touched it, we saw it, we smelt it, we heard the crackling, we watched the dance, we listened to the music, we saw the sea, we meditated on being present in that moment with one another. And then at the end, the children went to person and gathered all the pieces of balsam, all the little needles, and with the flautist went down to the sea and cast it into the water. This was kind of a blessing on the water, which was connected to all waters, because there really is only one water on this planet. It travels in cycles between the sea and the sky and back again. And we also asked a blessing on the people of this earth, we the people, and the people who were around us, and all the people, for really there's just one people. There's just one human family, breathing one air, which is our spirit, abiding on this one precious planet. It was as if, like our children at the seaside, it was for us the first time we took to deep water, to deep thoughts, to deep commitments to live as one human family.
The shelter of the cold, I've gone sailing on the sea, and I will always be there, sailing deep upon the water, and you will never ever see the last of me. Don't lose heart, it's the beginning, not the end, it's just a start. You found a family of friends, don't lose
Love me a little Chris Williamson. All right. Thank you. When we gather for this sacred service as we do tonight, we share an opportunity toward living our Unitarian Universalist values in the world by our acts of generosity to bring forth positive change. During the months of July and August, this congregation is invited to support Rewild Long Island, which is dedicated to collaborating with local communities across Long Island to protect and improve the biodiversity, resilience, and health of our regional ecosystems. You may see in the pew rack a card that's a little bit more, can tell you some more things about Rewild. Also, it has on the back the QR code so you can make a contribution. Our community is invited to support Rewild Long Island financially and to add our own acts of conservation and balance in the ecosystem of this precious planet to which we belong. Again, please see the pew card to learn more about Rewild and their notion of the crown of their work: composting, reduce, reuse, recycle, organic gardening, watering wisely, and native plants. You may also use the QR code to find other ways that you may give. And for the traditionalists who would like to pay by check or cash, please use the donation box in the main lobby, and please be generous. If you don't see one of these cards in the pew, I'm sure you can see some in the lobby and some in the tables in the social hall, and I really do want to encourage you to be generous. And now, as you will, why don't we sing and dance? How's that? A little bit of "From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live." Would you rise in body and spirit, and we'll sing with each other. And please, have a little universal dance for peace and justice in your life, your little heart, okay? And in your body. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. These offerings will be gratefully received by those who would be good stewards of justice, equity, and compassion in this house, in this county, and even unto the universe. Big breath. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Last time. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Big breath, big smile. Stick your tuchus out a little bit and have a seat. Thank you for putting up with my silliness. Before the seriousness, what is this? Something's funky here. Okay. These are words from American Friends Service Committee Program Coordinator Joseph Gerson in his book, With Hiroshima Eyes. A world free of nuclear weapons. The vast majority of the world's people have been born since the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, since the Cuban Missile Crisis, since the proliferation of nuclear arsenals. For most people, nuclear weapons are in the natural order, like volcanoes and meteors, that can be dangerous to and even threaten human existence. Only in times of crisis are most of us forced to face the man-made threat that has been woven so deeply into the fabric of modern civilization, the threats of Holocaust or cataclysmic thermonuclear war. The mayors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki have warned that it is becoming increasingly difficult to pass the experiences of their cities onto new generations because of the deaths of atomic bomb survivors, the disappearance of buildings and other sites testifying to the effects of the bombs, and the fading memories and emotions of survivors, that is, hibakusha, still living. Jungo Kayashige, who explained that the only way for Hibakusha to live is to fight nuclear weapons and get rid of them, and Senji Yamaguchi, who has lived to completely ban nuclear weapons and to create an international treaty which would outlaw all nuclear weapons, they will not live forever. In 1995, the 50th anniversaries of the bombings will briefly introduce the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and resensitize those who are attentive to the dangers of nuclear weapons. Yet the reasons for the bombings will be concealed. And as a result of the Smithsonian Institution's capitulation to the demands of some veteran groups and right-wing politicians, the old lie that conceivably as many as 1 million US casualties were prevented by the atomic bombings will be repeated as if it were authoritative truth. But what will happen as we approach the 51st, the 52nd, the 61st anniversaries? I will add the 75th anniversary 5 years ago, the 80th anniversary this week, the future anniversaries. As we approach these anniversaries of the bombings, what will be remembered? What will be taught? How will the lessons of the bombings be reflected in governmental policies and national identities? Power, it is said, surrenders nothing without a struggle. Here Gershom is citing abolitionist Frederick Douglass. There is little power more awesome than the power of nuclear power, but even the greatest mountains are eventually worn away. Musician and mom, Cindy Callett, was asked by her son why they stood out on a town green with candles to protest a distant war. She said that she hoped to send a message to politicians about ending war. And as her son furthered his interrogation, she talked about a community of people holding candles and the desire to shed light on the truth of the war. Not satisfied, her son insisted that there must be more. And so she posited, I wonder if I stood out in the rain, if I stood out in the night, if I lift up my fire, this candle, I wonder if you, distant soldier far away, if you will lay down your fire, your gun, and no longer kill. I make symbolic acts, a candlelight vigil, a walk for peace, a period of fasting, even crushing the needles of a fir tree and casting them out on the water to remind myself of who I am, of what my values are, and to know to whom I belong, to what kindred am I a part. As the Cosmic Orchestra shares Cindy Callett's song, I invite you quietly to light a candle to remind yourself of who you are and of whose you are in the face of these images of destruction in Hiroshima.
If I stood out in the rain night, my only light, a candle a million miles away, would you lay down your fire as I raised mine? Would you not kill again? No. nothing ever to weary me, oh my darling one. If I walked as one anymore, my only time, the present, here and now, would you undo those balls, one for each step taken, and let a future draw near? And oh, when you're near me, oh my love, oh my joy, there's nothing ever to weary me, oh my darling one. If I took no food on this one day, my only life, this water, a life from more away, would a child more than live? No cries of hunger, no cries, would she not starve again? And oh, when you're near me, oh my love, oh my joy, there's nothing ever to weary me, oh my darling one. If I stood out in the rain night, my only light, this candle, a million miles away, would you lay down your fire as I raised mine? Would you never kill again? Would you lay down your fire as I raise mine? Would you never kill again? And oh, when you're near me, oh my love, oh my joy, there's nothing ever to weary me, oh my darling one.
There are times I describe myself as the luckiest minister in captivity. This is one of those times. I seem to be twisted. There we go. More than usual, even. Sean Morrissey shares the following. The haiku is arguably the most revered and original form of Japanese poetry. The defining characteristics of this succinct poetic form can vary as we translate them into other languages. That said, all haiku in Japanese abide by the same 5-7-5 syllable structure for a total of 17 syllables in a poem. The traditional haiku should incorporate elements of the natural world. Matsu Basho, one of Japan's most celebrated and influential poets, contemplates, for example, the cherry blossom. How many, many things they are called to mind, these cherry blossoms. It is difficult to overstate the juxtaposition of scale from the pastoral tranquility of haiku to the enormity of the atomic bomb. However, one could argue that that is exactly what makes the Japanese haiku of Hiroshima so incredibly powerful. Take, for example, the following haiku by Yasuhiko Shigemoto. Hiroshima Day, I believe there must be bones under the paved street. There's nothing ephemeral about Shigemoto's work. It is a poetry rooted in the real, reflecting the simple joys and enormous tragedies of our lived experience. In haiku, there is little room for haphazard language. The poet writes with great deliberation, as in the following again by Shigemoto. The sunset glow, Hiroshima, as if still burning. The tanka, or short song, is another classical Japanese form that relies on syllabic structure. The tanka is extended to 31 syllables and often appears as just a single line. The tanka dates back 1,000 years before haiku, making it one of the oldest poetic styles in Japanese history. Imai Tokusaburo distills the entirety of Hiroshima and its enduring impact on survivors in 2 lines. Alas, my wife still hopes, though setting his plate already for a month in vain. Consider the spectral voice of the following tanka by Haruka Tanimura. Hiroshima said to me every day, if you neglect to treasure those around you, you will surely regret it. The poet provides an essential people's history of events, as it were, that which might otherwise be overlooked and lost to time. That so much is contained within these short poems is not only a testament to the Japanese aesthetic, but also to the universality of the experience. Our empathetic instincts are born of the fact that we have all known tragedy and lived to carry that weight. Will you join me in a moment of prayer? O thou who art the font of human imagination, equip our minds with the capacity to reimagine our existence. Let us move from thoughts of mortality and competition, thoughts which lead to isolation and disagreement, to a sense of superiority over others, other people and other species, and even over the world. Let us move toward the truer notion that we are all in this together, that we are one people sharing this sacred earth now and over time, with one another, with other living beings, with the conditions which make life possible. Give us patience with ourselves, our judgments, our fear, our outrageous imaginations. Patience with others, acknowledging their gifts, ready to know our dependence on them and our shared dependence on this precious planet, which we may not, which we must not destroy. Let us find together ways to be reconciled to one another, able to know each other as kindred, able to help one another, able and willing to be about the pursuit of justice, that we might build a world without nuclear weapons. As we must, we take a moment to remember all the victims of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ready to say with those at the memorials, Let all the souls here rest in peace, we say, for we shall not repeat the evil. We remember all the victims of war, ancient warfare, and even the warfare of today. And let us turn our hearts toward peace, peace, peace. Shalom, salam, shanti, peace. Amen.
People get ready, there's a train to come. Don't need no baggage to get on board. All you need is faith, you hear the diesel humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people getting ready, and there's a train, Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the door, and you're born. There's hope for all among those loving ones. There ain't no room for the hopeless son who would hurt all mankind and save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. There's no hiding place among the kingdom's throne. So people get ready, there's a train a-coming. Don't need no baggage, yes, I get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. Don't need no ticket, thank the Lord. Well, you don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Yeah, so people get ready. People get ready. Oh,
People get ready.
they get ready and get ready.
Oh, people get ready.
just thank the Lord.
Cosmic Orchestra. Yes. Okay, I'm going to give you 15 minutes. You're invited to have a cup of coffee, grab a cookie, and please come back here for Cliff Eberhardt. How's that sound? All right. Thank you.
People get ready. Thank the Lord. No, you don't need no thanking. You don't need no you just thank the Lord. Thank you.